Cosmic Crack opens a new door to understanding the stars, moon, and planets for yourself and also for people in the news. Are they acting authentically or just faking it? You'll hear the inside scoop about those newsmakers, their mindset, and intentions. Host Jenny Stone shares her wit and wisdom about astrology right here each week on webtalkradio.net.
Hi, thanks for being here. This is Jenny Stone with Cosmic Crack, your podcast for talking about what's next. This week, this month, this year, this historic year. We're going to talk about the sun, the moon, the planets, and how it affects us on Earth. This week, let's talk about the Mars Retrograde. It's coming up at the end of August, and it starts to affect us soon. And we'll talk about the three aspects of Mars. The myth, the male mystique kind of energy of it, the war machine, and we'll take a look at how that perception has changed, how masculinity has changed in the last century. And we'll talk about the physical part of Mars as it affects your health and energy. And that's a big deal. It's your health, it's your energy, it's Mars. But let's start with the mythology. Mars, god of war. He came from royal lineage. His father was Jupiter, his mother was Juno. Jupiter was king of the gods. King of the gods. And he was a nice kind of guy. He was happy. He was exuberant. He was generous. He took you to dinner. He always picked up the tab. He was a happy kind of guy. Oh, here, Jupiter, have another cocktail. Tell us a story. Make us laugh. We want you to be happy. And everybody on Earth wanted him to be happy. You know, so he wouldn't throw around the thunderbolts and lightning. Here, Jupiter, have another drink. Tell us a story. And then the mother of Mars was Juno. She was the powerhouse. She kept things running. She looked after women and children. She was the sensible one. She was the power, let's say the power behind the throne, but maybe the power of the throne, the supporting power. And together, they produced Mars, who was by far their most powerful and charismatic offspring. Mars, god of war, god of war. And the statues of Mars, they show him all armed up with weapons. You know that funny helmet with the feathers on top? The shield, the armor, the straps, the body. And sometimes they showed him nude, just gorgeous, perhaps getting ready to make love to his half-sister Venus. Okay, we'll leave that legend for another day. Because right now what we're looking at is his aggressive side, his side that overcomes, conquers, subdues, overpowers, subjugates, and suppresses. His mantra was peace through war. Well, that was okay when men ruled the world, which was for thousands of years. Peace through war. But now that women are taking charge, we see that premise is maybe not so good. Maybe after I conquer and overpower you, silence the opposition, beat you into submission, put my knee on your neck so you can't talk. And then I won. Well, I don't know if it's winning. But back in Greek and Roman times, maybe that was a way to look at war. Back then, when men ruled the world, which was only yesterday. But it had been that way for thousands of years. Might makes right. And it's changing now. Yes, it's changing. 2020 is the watershed moment. This is the revolution. This is where we change the trajectory of history from here on out. But back to Mars. Because he's not just about war. He's not just about power and authority. He's not all bad. In fact, there's a side of him that's super helpful. He's the energy that gets you up in the morning, throws you into those challenging situations, makes you audacious and pioneering and ready to take on the competition. And whether that's to clean up the basement or take on the competition at work, be the innovator, or maybe plough the fields and bring home the crops. Yes, we all need that kind of energy. And without it, we hesitate, get discouraged, frustration. We have no drive, and we let the competition win every time. Dang, we can't let that happen. We need Mars. We need that creative get up and go, win the day. And sometimes it's just self-talk to get you out of bed and say, go win the day. Or maybe it's the actual physical energy to run a couple of miles, clean up after the kids. Or maybe it's the inspiration and incentive to take your idea to market. We need it. We need Mars. But we also need to recognize that too much of it, and we all go marching off to war. But when it's not enough, we sit on the couch all day and think too much. So it's all about balance. It's about leaning into the devoted and loving energy of Venus and the go-get-it, win-the-day kind of Mars energy. But balance is difficult, much more difficult, when Mars is retrograde. Instead of balance, shall I sit here, shall I go get 'em? No, it's a lot more about frustration, procrastination. I'm speaking for myself here, some kind of revengey thoughts. Should I confront them? No, I'm going to wait. Do I want to do it? No, I'm going to let it simmer. And how does that play out on Earth, especially during an election season? Oh, Ugh, that's the big question. Oh, God. We're going to have to leave that for another time, another podcast later in the season when it gets real and we can see how it plays out. For the moment, let's get back to Roman times. Yes, Julius Caesar, he had a really good astrologer. And back then, there were no cell phones, there were no emails. So Julius Caesar took his astrologer into battle with him. And they rode along, they talked, they planned ahead for the week, the month, the year, just like we're doing right now. And in that regard, I'm honored to be your companion on this journey together. So, what happened when the astrologer told Caesar that there was a Mars retrograde coming? Good question. And what did Caesar do? He told his troops, go take a vacay, go home and visit your family. No more warfare, no more fighting for the next couple of months. No looting, you hear me? No looting, no plundering. Try to stay out of conflicts, you hear me? Now go home and enjoy your time off. That was his advice to his soldiers. And how does that translate into what's happening now? Best advice: use September and October to reflect, to plan ahead, and think about your next campaign so that you can take action in November after the retrograde ends. It doesn't mean an end to reaching for accomplishment. It doesn't mean going into hibernation and doing nothing. It means instead that you kind of get up in the morning and instead of feeling that passion, you might feel a bit uncertain. You might have some questions about, do I really want to go after that job? Do I really want to launch into that new phase? That relationship, that next round of professional skill sets? Do I really want to take on that extra student debt? So what to do instead? What's your best plan? Ask yourself, what's working for me? And how can I make that better? How can I make that part of me better? Oh yeah, questions are good. Slowing down before making decisions is good. Planning ahead is good. Asking yourself, what's the next plan of action? Where do I want to go from here? Okay, think about that. Where do I want to go from here? Instead of future think, just for a moment, just for one single moment, take a breath and see this as a very positive thing. Okay, come back into your body, take a breath, be here now. I'm with you. I'm going to be with you every step of the way. For the moment, relax. Relax from the head down. Your throat, tongue, shoulders, arms. Oof, okay, that's better. Take another deep breath and let it out through your mouth. And please do not worry. You got this. And don't let's get too far ahead of ourselves. I'll be here with the predictions to help you. How to win? Just by being yourself, liking yourself, loving yourself, knowing that you're on the right path and doing the right thing. Yes, learn the internal energy. That's always a good place to start. Be here now. Learn the internal energy. Okay, one more story. My own experience in real estate. I watched a client buy a property as an investment during a Mars Retrograde. And I knew it would be a problem and that the whole process would slow down. What I didn't see coming was that the architect would get sick. The building permits would take months and months to come through instead of the usual weeks. The backyard of the property would become a flood zone. The staircase would collapse. And on and on and on. And the result was that instead of taking the usual 6 or 7 months to complete the project, it took 2 years. 2 years. Which could have been avoided if they listened to this astrologer. So yes, before you go marching into new territory, before you take over a building thinking you're going to renovate and win, before you launch that new business, pause and think. And together we'll come up with a plan, while still keeping you motivated and moving. And that's in business. But what about your health? Well, Mars represents your physical vitality and strength. So expect a little more fatigue. Maybe you're not sleeping well. Maybe you're driving a little distracted. Plan your trips ahead. Be careful on the sports field. And if you're working on the garden or in the kitchen, take extra caution with knives. In your workshop with power tools, be extra careful. And we'll talk more about that in August. And I will put notes on the monthly calendars for the days to be especially aware, plus a few notes about what to look for in your sun sign. I'll put that in the newsletters and on Facebook. And in another episode, we're going to talk about the emotional health of Mars retrograde, because that's going to be the big one. That's going to be the big one. It's not just the physical. It's not just the knives and the power tools. It's the emotional health. And yes, it's going to be during the election season. The election season, because Mars retrograde lasts until November 13th. Yes, Friday, November 13th. And that's important in the United States because the election is November 2nd, but there will be a delay because with so many mail-in ballots, we may not get the results until Friday the 13th. But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Come back. Rewind. Take a breath. You got this. I'm going to be right here with you. Get the calendar. Get the newsletters. I'm with you every step of the way. And let's talk again soon. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you want to hear about. Who do you want to hear about? The inside scoop. Who are they really? What's their life story and energy? And one more thing I want to hear about. I want to hear about what you want for the Mars retrograde music. What will get you up and moving so that you can go out and win the day? A military brass band, or the music from Rocky. Remember when Sylvester Stallone ran up the steps? Maybe MC Hammer, You Can't Touch This. That's a good one for emotional health, right? You can't touch this. Mozart. I love Mozart. He's the one who gets me up and moving. So tell me, what's your choice for the Mars retrograde as get up and go music? I want to hear from you. And let's talk soon. This is Cosmic Crack. You can talk to me here. You can leave comments. And you can go to cosmiccrack.net. Oh, and want to hear from you. That's it for now. Talk to you soon.